What's up guys, Loom here. Welcome back to the channel, and thank you for tuning in. Patch 11.1 dropped on Tuesday, and with it we got a variety of changes to the talent trees. My new talent tree recommendation offers much more self-healing than the previous one, and it provides comparable damage output. I still firmly recommend Druid of the Claw over Elune's Chosen. Elune's Chosen does have benefits, but those benefits are mostly seen in Phase 1 against Varus, and in my opinion, Cruel is a much more difficult part of the fight. That said, a demonstration of completing this fight as one of Elune's Chosen is included in this video as well. I'm using the combination of speed enchants on my cloak, bracers, and boots, all war within enchants, and an elusive blasphemite in combination with 5 different colored gems, giving me an additional 10% movement speed. What I've not used in either demonstration are the very powerful primary stat enchants, Crystalline Radiance for your chest, and the Stormbound Armor Kit for your legs. That combined will give you an additional 223 main stat and 118 stamina in the Mage Tower. Given that we're scaled down to just under 400 agility in the Mage Tower, this is more than a 50% increase in primary stat, which should make the fight go a little bit quicker than you see in these demonstrations. Information on additional enchants, gems, gearing strategies, and consumables are provided at the end of the video. And before we get to the fights, please subscribe to the channel to help support us and stay in the loop for more Mage Tower videos and Season 2 Delve boss fights. And let me know in the comments which spec you want to see next in the Mage Tower. Round 1, fight. So on the pole you're going to send Incarn, and then you're going to get your first free Ravage from Mangle, then you're alternating Mangle and Maul as they buff each other. Don't worry too much about building up Thrash stacks. You're going to stay in the puddle till about 5 stacks. 6 is okay, 7 is where you're going to hit Barkskin when you come out. You can also add more Thrash stacks by being just outside the puddle and hitting it. Once the ads group up, we Thrash, and then once they all start casting, you Orb or Incap Roar. If you use Incap Roar, just make sure to jump on the Orb after that. It'll top you and the NPCs off. It'll disrupt all the casts, including the eyeballs. And then you're back into Varus. Spend all of your rage on Maul. Hopefully it procs Ravage a few times. And then we're out at 6 stacks. It's a little dicey. We always have Typhoon for Drain Life. 25-second CD is back. Trying to keep the Infernal near the edge is ideal, but kind of a losing battle, especially once you get 2 or 3. Ads are going to group up. We're going to Thrash them. Then Incap Roar. And little Infernals knock you not as far back as the big ones. But we're going to run back in, get our Orb. And then we're back on boss. Spending all of our rage on Maul. And trying to kite the Infernal away from the middle, but he's a ghost boy now and he'll be back in a little bit. Empowered Moonfires will mostly take care of an eye. I'm pretty bad. At a point I just start ignoring the eyeballs as they all go away once Varus is done. But frankly, if you're out of melee range and you got nothing else to do, you can just spam Moonfire. I go back in for just a couple more stacks before I pick up the new set of ads. Every little bit helps. We hit him with the Thrash, and then we're going to get the Drain Life. Yep. So since we jumped on the Orb before the Nether Storm actually started casting, we need to be aware of it. I would probably just recommend always following up with the Incap Roar. I didn't hear, a little too confident. And now we have 2 Infernals, so we're just playing near the edge a little bit. And you just want to hit them with the Okie Doke. You know, go left till they wind up, then go right. And little Infernals have little knockbacks. And we go straight in to pick the Drain Life. And then we're picking up the ads, we Thrash. And then we Incap Roar. And we're just going straight for orbs these days. That's fine. And you can't really tank the Nether Horrors for any extended amount of time. You should always be running away from them as they die. Their melees stack up real quick, and they increase the damage of further melees. So we only got 2 Infernals. We're very happy about that. And when Incarn comes up, we're saving that. I had Barkskinned on the pole. You don't need it for the first one. First one, just an Iron Fur or 2 will do. I mean, 2 is probably better than none. And then Twisted Reflections always comes right after that first Annihilate. The next one will come after the third Annihilate. And then we're just constantly doing this perimeter circle kite to stay ahead of the Infernals. They definitely throw a wrench in the plans. We orbed before the Nether Horrors started casting their storms, so we're going to Incap Roar as soon as they get to us, which we do. It also hits Cruel. Then we hit Barkskin. We know it's going to be up for that second Annihilate. It's like 12-second Barkskin these days. Barkskin and 2 Iron Furs. I probably should have renewed that. That's also fine. Got a free Ravage proc, and just trying to stay ahead of those Infernals best we can. They're about to peter out for a little bit. Ads are coming up. We hit them with the Thrash. Move out of the Stomp. In-cap Roar. In-cap Roar is not up because we're a late caster on that. That's upsetting. Orb was right there. After that next Annihilate, we Survival Instincts. I would recommend layering the Survival Instincts and Barkskin. It actually wasn't up in time because I messed up my cooldown usage. There's that second Twisted Reflections, easy kick, and we're just making room away from the puddles. The Void Bolts you cast when you're at range don't really do too much damage. They probably ramp on Velen. We know we're going to get jumped on here. Then we Orb for the Disrupt. And then we have Rage of the Sleeper and Survival Instincts for that fourth Annihilate. Chunked us. But the fight's pretty much over. Just spend all of your Rage now. He can't hurt you anymore. Having a third Infernal for this is actually super rough. Do your best not to get that. 4 Annihilates is also super rough. Do your best not to have to deal with that. In-cap Roar. That's how you pick up some ads. If Velen dies when Cruel is dying, you will lose the fight. So make sure that doesn't happen. And then you're a Dancing Bear. Here we are as Elune's Chosen. You don't have to be a bird for this, but it's kind of novel and fun, and we haven't had Moonkin for him for quite a bit now. If he moves all the way up, which he does when you're all the way in the back, his first cast will be Drain Life. We'll have Typhoon for every single one of those. I Berserk so I can get the haste from it. And then our Convoke just empties into one of the Nether Horrors. We drop our Lunar Beam. This is why we pulled boss forward, so we can just get all of the damage on the boss at the same time. We Thrash, we Orb, we run away. And then Drain Life coming back up, we just sneeze that, and then we kind of kite him back towards us a little bit more. Honestly, I didn't hate this. Part of the Wild, pretty nice. And eyeballs go down quite a bit faster. The cooldown reduction on Lunar Beam doesn't work quite as well if you don't have Arcane Damage Thrash, which I don't right now. So you're gonna kind of manually just press a few more Moonfires than you normally would, but that Lunar Beam will absolutely make short work of the ads, and it does a bunch of damage to Varus as well. The trade-off for that Thrash Arcane Damage talent is just more damage on Lunar Beam, so I figured that was worth it. And we're just blasting away. Nice little Convoke here. If you're out of range of other targets, you won't send spells into them with your Convoke. Not the biggest deal in the world. And Convoke will absolutely bring your Lunar Beam back super fast since you cast a whole bunch of spells. And then we're going back into boss. Throw our beam down before ads even get there. In-cap Roar as soon as they start casting. And then we're going to jump on our Orb, which also disrupts the eyeball. And then we have Typhoon for the Drain Life. And we double dot the eyeball there. Back on boss. We know we're going to get at least one more set of ads. Only 2 Infernals, I'm very happy about that. 3 Infernals is really where things get out of hand when you start fighting Cruel. Ads are coming up. Charge in. Throw our beam down. Pick the boss. In-cap Roar the cast as soon as they start. And then we Orb. Now we're going to push Varus. Going to spam Moonfire until he transitions. Cruel is down. This is where things get a little messier since you're spec'd into a bunch of Lunar Bear talents and not straight upfront physical damage or physical damage reduction. But we Barkskin the first one just because we're scared. Kick the Twisted Reflections, get jumped on, and kiting away from the Infernals as always. Once those ads come down, we're going to Lunar Beam and hopefully keep boss in it for most of the time. There it is. In-cap Roar as soon as they start casting. Jumping towards the Orb. And we don't step on the Orb. I want my Barkskin back for the second one because I don't want to use my Survival Instinct, so we do get knocked. I charge the boss back. And I Orb just to delay it just the 3 seconds I need to have Barkskin come back. And I Iron Prayer a couple times at Barkskin, and we easily survive the Annihilate. He jumps on us, we move out, and we get away from the Infernals. If the ads aren't coming directly to you, Frenzied Regen will give you the regrowth and rejuve hots these days, which will be enough healing to out-aggro Velen. Group them up, we Convoke, so we're going to be a little bit late on the disorient. There we go. Lunar Beam is down, then we orb. And we have Survival Instincts for the next Annihilate, and hopefully some Iron Furs. Yep. Twisted Reflections, always after the third Annihilate. We kick that, and we're just going to go the other way. That Infernal's got that spot on lockdown. And we kind of get, you know, taken for a ride, and that orb is gone, but it's totally fine. We group up the ads. Ink Emperor's coming up. We hit it right now. Then we have Barkskin and Survival Instincts for this fourth Annihilate. And we throw the beam down as well. And then we're just hoping we kill him before that fifth Annihilate, which I'm pretty sure we do. That would be a tragic wipe. New ads are coming out. And we just orb just to slow everything down a little bit, and you kill him inside, the orb's done. Oh yeah, we had to Convoke too. Boom, boom, boom. So that's Elune's Chosen. Definitely a little squishier than Druid of the Claw. And a little fancier, a little more going on. A lot of form shifting, running in and out. A lot of grouping damage up on top of boss and ads because that Lunar Beam is very powerful. We didn't slash dance. There we go. We dancing.
He is overloading himself with power.
So, pretty doable. Honestly, Elune's Chosen was way more fun than I thought it was going to be. And Lunar Beam did a lot more work than I thought it was going to do. I would still recommend Druid of the Claw. It feels like you're juggling less. There's a talent tree for Elune's Chosen. And honestly, I probably leaned a little bit too far into the laser chicken aspect of Elune's Chosen than I needed to. But again, it's a little more fun. You could certainly run the same general build you use as Druid of the Claw and just take the Elune's Chosen tree and just have more upfront arcane damage, which does help with the eye. You could take arcane damage thrash, which allows for more natural cooldown reduction on Lunar Beam. Lunar Beam is definitely very powerful. Having it for every set of ads is very nice. I probably haven't used Convoke in about a year, so nice to use that button again. Both talent sets are in the description below, of course. I would say that the Druid of the Claw talent build has a little bit more vetting behind it, as I've done the fight tons of times with that specific build. And this was a little more memey for the laser chickens, but certainly doable. And I definitely take back the nobody wants to press Lunar Beam aspect of my previous Guardian Druid video. It's a bit of an effort to get all that going. And I'd say potentially far more volatile than just dealing with your Druid of the Claw build, which is straight up tankier than Elune's Chosen, but having a little bit more healing is also nice. I traded the speed enchants on my Cloak and Bracers for leech enchants, as in phase 1 when you're just a boom chicken, you are getting wrecked by Varus quite a bit. Druid of the Claw, you're pretty much just keeping your Absorb Shield topped off with maul damage, and you're getting a lot of that Elune's Favored healing, which doesn't apply when you're not in bear form. So throwing a manual regrowth on yourself doesn't remove Moonkin form, which is always nice. You can always shift into bear form to get your regrowth and rejuve at 200% efficiency from our new invigoration talent. Feel free to blow this talent tree up any which way you want. We're going to pop back over to the Broken Shore to check out the rest of the enchants, gems, and consumables that we were talking about earlier. And if you're looking for more primary stat to make the fight go that much quicker, you can add these 3 gems, the Leviathan, Kraken, and Saber's Eyes of Agility. Keep in mind, if you have the minimum amount of sockets granted by War Within gear, which is 2 in the neck and 2 in each ring, this will cost you 6% movement speed from your elusive Blasphemite gem. Tough call there, I would probably go for the movement speed. If you're unfamiliar with gearing in the War Within, the next biggest bonus you can give yourself for primary stat would be using the Greater Flask of the Currents, Borealis Blood Sausage Food Buff, and Superior Battle Potions of Agility. Don't forget the Feral Hide Drums, and any older, inexpensive augment runes will give you either 7 or 11 more main stat. Highly recommend using the Feral Hide Drums and Potion on Cruel. You're likely not going to have enough time to Potion on Varus and then have one available for Cruel as he comes down. And lastly, for consumables, the Battle for Azeroth War Scrolls of Battle Shout and Fortitude. And for your ring enchants, I would recommend either Cursed Versatility or Cursed Haste. As far as weapon enchants go, I would recommend Authority of Radiant Power or Authority of the Depths. Perfectly fine to leave these options on the table. Either one would likely be the single biggest gold investment on your character for this challenge. And if you're looking to go that much harder on Cruel, Burning Crusade Socketed Gear is the most efficient application of sockets in the game. The availability of sockets on gear was greatly reduced after Mists of Pandaria, and while socketed gear from Wrath of the Lich King, Cataclysm, and Mists of Pandaria all reduce the amount of main stat you get from that gear per socket added, Items from Burning Crusade do not follow this paradigm. So items with additional stamina may have reduced primary stat as well, or reduced secondary stats. It's worth noting that with only a couple of exceptions, Dragonflight necklaces are the only items with 3 sockets available, and you can even purchase item level 319 versions of these on the auction house that can have 2 sockets added with tiered medallion settings, and still accept a neck enchant from Warlords of Draenor or Legion. And with only 1 or 2 exceptions in the game, War Within rings are the only rings you'll find with 2 sockets available, or 2 sockets you can place in them by using a Magnificent Jeweler setting. Keep in mind, using socketed gear from previous expansions is going to be but a drop in the bucket compared to the chest enchant and leg enchant I recommended before the fight, or the consumables I've just mentioned. I hesitate to even add this section to the video, as some people were under the impression that this gear is mandatory for challenges in the Mage Tower. This is absolutely not the case. You do yourself a disservice to have this mindset. I only think it appropriate to add as many different ways of gaining power for the challenge that I know of. That's also why I added this for the very last, as few people as possible will see this section. And folks, that is all I got. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to hit me up in the comments. Subscribe to the channel to stay in the loop for more Mage Towers Explained and Season 2 Delve boss fights. I appreciate the time you've given this video. I hope you all have a great rest of your day or evening. Peace.